Greetings! In today's video, I've got Trailmakers creations to show you. The first one is deriving heavy inspiration from another content creator. His name is Umbra on YouTube. I do recommend his stuff. You should go check his videos out. He has a plane called the Strato Chief, and I just decided I was gonna yoink a lot of his design cues, and I made the Chinese knockoff version of the Strato Chief, and I called it the Layer Captain because, you know, Strato, layers, Chief, and then Captain, and so this is the Chinese knockoff version of Umbra's plane, the Strato Chief. It's got a lot of similar design choices. The wings are slightly angled up, if you'll see from the front. It's got vertical tail fins. Mine are slightly angled outward, whereas his are perfectly vertical. I made the choice to have proper horizontal stabilizers that rotate hinged on the tail properly, rather than having them attached to the wing pieces like his. But other than that, there's a bunch of power cores for speed and canards in the front. And then I have, I think it's what, 5 blasters, I think, and a rocket. 5 blasters and a rocket. I'm pretty sure anyway. It's got very, very good agility. It's very agile, very powerful. It's very fragile as well, because the wings are held onto the plane by 2 hinges each. However, it's fine. It's supposed to be. It was just a fun experiment to run. Can I take something that Umbra made and then, well, turn it into this? Yeah. Layer Captain. You should go check out Umbra's channel and his video on the Strato Chief. The second build I'll show you today is another plane. This is a Harrier. It's a lot smaller than it could be, but it has functional VTOL takeoff and everything, which I'm pretty happy with. It has its nozzles. It has a lot of downward thrust because, you know, I can't just have 4 space engines facing downward. They won't lift this thing. It has its vertical takeoff. It's not the most controllable thing in the world when trying to like land properly. It's all right. Like you have to kind of finesse it, slow it down. You say, hi, I would like to land, and then you drift a whole bunch, and I have no control over any of the rotation, like the spinning. That's fine, the spinning stopped, and then you just land it gently like that, and it's good. Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. There's a couple of gyros inside for a little bit of assistance, and then you can turn the nozzles, and all of a sudden you're a plane. A very, very unstable plane. The angled down wings make this very weird to fly. It's relatively agile, but it's also uncontrollable, which, you know, makes it hard when you're trying to dogfight. However, it's a good piece to have. It's got 4 blasters, I believe. Yeah, just 4 blasters as weaponry. And I could have added a couple more things, but I really didn't want to, because it's a pretty fragile build. As in, its weld groups and its hinge interactions and stuff are not exactly, like, they're not happy. So I didn't want to add a bunch of more weapons to it to make it potentially self-destruct on occasion. I just decided it was probably better if I went easy on the weapons front. Yeah. The third build for today is a spaceship. Now, I just picked an image off of the internet. I think I went on like DeviantArt, I typed in spaceship, something, I don't remember. I saw a cool image of a spaceship and I was like, I want to build that. And that's what I did. That's a lot of what I do for my spaceships. I generally have reference images. Sometimes I combine different kinds of images together. Sometimes I'm just building something that I saw. Sometimes I'm just building it from memory. Sometimes I properly like save the reference image to somewhere and I'm looking at it while I'm building. I have a few different approaches. This one was really just, I saw cool spaceship, I want in Trailmakers, and so I make. Very simple, really. It's very thin, so it's pretty unstable because hover pads work better when you've got them further apart from each other. But yeah, it goes terrifyingly fast and it's not very controllable. I'm going to headcanon that it's a racer or something like that. I don't know. Something of the sort. It'll do fine. I have shields on it. I don't know why I have shields on it. I don't think this thing would need shields. If it's racing and in competitions and stuff, I don't know. I was just building. I figured shields would be cool. And so I put shields on. The second last build for today is this Toyota landcruiser. It's one of the old models. I honestly, again, if you've been watching, you know I know little about cars, close to nothing. It's one of the older models of Toyota Land Cruiser. I heard somebody talk about it on a podcast on YouTube, and I decided I wanted one, and so I built it. It's a very aesthetic piece. There's not much function to it. It does have relatively good suspension, but I wouldn't really rely on it to take you full speed off a jump or anything like that. It's also really top heavy because obviously, so I had to put in some form of slight stabilization so that it wouldn't tip over every time I tried to turn it pretty tight. It has lights in the front, which are pretty good. It has lights in the back. I didn't program these lights. Major programmed these lights. So essentially, when you're braking or when you're reversing, it does different things. And yeah, I don't know how any of that works either. and so yeah. Pretty cool. The final creation for today is an F4 Phantom. And the peculiar thing about this is I believe it's an F16 or it's a bunch of F16s that have a Zeus paint job. I think that's what it's called. This specific kind of paint job is supposed to be called a Zeus paint job. And so I just took the two things and I combined them because Ion is Greek and he likes the F4 Phantom a lot. I just decided to make this in honor of him because he likes both things. The F4 Phantom and the Zeus paint job. So yeah, I have 4 guns in it. It's relatively maneuverable. It's pretty on par with the rest of my planes. It works well. It's really flashy, really bright paint job. You can't really miss this if it's flying overhead. It has flares as well, which you will see are these red tail lights at the back. And so I can decide to drop them off like this. And then it's the same deal as with my other flared planes. You just fly around inside them or around them and hope that they take the aggro of some of the enemy's guns and some of their bullets. I'm not going to attempt to land this because I would crash it. Actually, let me attempt. Oh. All right. Yeah, that's the F4 Phantom for you. And there you go. This has been the showcase of a couple of builds that I've made in Trailmakers. Also, I'm debating whether this is going to become the stable new outro dragon. Yeah, let me know what you think about that. I don't know if anybody watches the outros. It might be that nobody does, and so nobody cares. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the future.